Oh, hello. We're back.
Hello.
Back on Art Jam.
It's
Welcome to Art Jam. It's Wednesday.
Yeah, the last Wednesday of September.
Oh, yeah, we were just talking about that. This month has gone by so incredibly quickly.
Yeah. Because it's
shockingly.
it's almost a month since you finished the fellowship.
That feels insane. That just feels like time has passed so fast.
Yeah, it's super weird. So, I mean, for me, it's even longer. So,
yeah, you're like, oh.
Yeah, just busy. It's going to stay that way for the next couple of weeks, and then I think calm down once the term starts.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, we start not next week, but the following. Right?
Yeah, next Friday, the 8th, is orientation for new students.
Mm-hmm.
And then, all right, I'm going to sneeze. Talk while I process.
Yeah, I'll try to cover you. There you go. Yeah.
Yeah, it's crazy. This morning we looked outside and it was all foggy, which is kind of rare out in the desert.
Yeah.
But we thought it was foggy, and then opened the window, and the smell of burning wood was super strong. So I think it's the fires in the sequoias. They're still blowing down this way.
Oh, okay, yeah.
But yeah, so now my allergies have been kind of bugging me today.
Oh, that sucks.
So yeah, it doesn't smell outside anymore. So it seems like the wind kind of pushed it over here, and then it kept going south, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, there's some big fires up there still.
Yeah, for sure.
But yeah, we have orientation on the 8th, and then the term starts on the 11th, which is crazy.
Yeah.
Humans on campus again.
It's coming up soon.
Thank God.
Somebody says they're early. Hello, everyone from France.
Bonjour. Ça va? So, hello, Alex F1, Mila, Barack. Hello.
All right. Gotta figure out what we're doing today.
What are we doing today?
I was just looking up some reference. I think I might try to sculpt a likeness today. We'll see how that goes. I've done it before on stream once, but I'm looking through some reference photos right now of actors and people. So
cool.
We'll see how it goes.
Nice. Well, that's always challenging.
Yeah. Yes.
Well,
if it doesn't get there, that's all right.
Well, so you'll do character stuff. I'll do environment stuff.
Yeah, sounds good. I'm going to share my screen here in a sec. Looks like if you have any questions in the chat, please pop them in there. We have, looks like Adam, one of our Gnomon reps, is here. Answer questions if you got them about classes, curriculums, programs, anything like that.
Yeah, for sure. Ask questions anytime, and we try to get to most of them. You can ask about what we're working on, or Gnomon, or it's all pretty casual. And so Art Jam is just a period of time every week where Josh and I just hang out and either work on a project or doodle or make something from scratch real quick. And it's a very casual setting.
Mm-hmm.
Tu parles français? Je parle un peu de français, but not really. My mom was French, so I'm actually a French citizen, if you'll believe that. So I was born in Paris, but I grew up in LA, and my mom never spoke French to me. So I only know a little French from high school. I understand it all right, though, because I grew up listening to my family speak it. But I will not try to speak it. My accent's really bad. French is hard. It's like, even though I took French, grew up hearing it, but then Italian and Spanish, I find to be a lot easier to pronounce than French, because the R in French is really difficult. So, yeah, because it's like this back of the throat thing. So, but I wish I spoke French fluently, but most of my French family speaks English. Mm-hmm. So when I would go there, it was kind of fine. All right.
Trying to launch my program. That's weird. I'll just load it into Lightbox. I'm going to go with Jeremy Irons today.
Jeremy Irons?
It's Jeremy Irons, I think.
What was that movie where he was the crazy doctor?
He was
wasn't he Dead Ringers? Is that it?
I don't know.
Wasn't he like a evil gynecologist?
I have no idea.
Yeah, Jeremy Irons, 1988 psychological thriller, in a dual role as identical twin gynecologists. Well, if you like him and he's
Yeah.
great, you should see Dead Ringers because it's
Okay.
messed up.
It sounds like it, so I will have to give it a try.
It's got 83% on Rotten Tomatoes,
All right.
but I just remember it being kind of disturbing. But I haven't seen it, I think, since back then.
Right. And what about you? I'm gonna put yours on screen as well.
I'm
Let's
gonna.
do this layout today.
Yeah, that works. Cool. There was a way for like our screens to be bigger and our webcams to be
Heads to be smaller.
but I guess that
Yeah.
doesn't really work from a layout.
It seems not to. Yeah.
Yeah. But
Where's-
yeah, I'm going to play with this file a little bit since I showed it last week and I haven't really had time to work on it anymore. So all of this stuff is like ready to be textured. So I think I'm going to start with the thing that's furthest away because that's easy because we can see that distant mountain ridge like you barely see it because it's blocked by so much stuff. So I'll texture that first.
Oh, I always forget there's something that you have to do to be able to sculpt with spotlight on.
It's funny how it's just like if there's a tool you don't use all that often in a program, that like it might be like a tool you use once a year, and then you have to like be like, how do I use that again?
Yeah, you're like, I know there's one thing that I have to do. There we go. This is
especially with software that's got like funny UI.
brush,
Like ZBrush.
samples, uncheck spotlight projection. This is a thread from 2014. There it is. Found it on Polycount.
There was a 3D paint package back in the day called Deep-Paint. I don't know if that's for you or is that?
I think Deep-Paint was probably one of the first 3D projection programs, painting programs, that I learned in Gnomon. I think it was probably, was there that one or Body Paint 3D?
Body Paint was another one, yeah. Yeah, Body Paint and Deep-Paint both had funny interfaces. It took a while to like get used to. So every time I'd have to use one of them, I'd have to like be like, how do you import meshes? How do you set up your materials? All right, so I'm going to go from ZBrush to Mixer. So I'm going to try out exporting my low res, my high res, generating a normal map in X normal, and then bringing that into Mixer to texture this terrain. See if that all works.
So you're bringing the high res into Mixer?
Well, I don't want to bring the 4 million poly mesh into Mixer. And so I tried that, and it's it'll let you import a high res mesh, but it's really slow.
Okay.
And so what should be better, and I'm not going to send the 4 million poly mesh to Unreal anyway, just because it's in the background.
Yeah.
So I'll just take the SDiv1, which is 60,000, export that. And then take the 4 million, and it has UVs because I UV'd it in ZBrush already. And then export the 4 million. And then bring them into X normal to generate the normal map. So I don't know if you do that. Use X normal for normal maps.
I like X normal. X normal, I feel like every time I open that program, I'm being thrown into the past, though.
Yeah, I know. But its normal maps are so much sharper than ZBrush.
They're great.
Annoying.
They're really good. It just is one of those ones where I'm like, oh, this is very old looking.
It's just silly. I mean, there might be an alternate, but it works.
Yeah. I've used Knald, K-N-A-L-D.
Yep.
I've used Knald before.
Yeah, me too.
Substance Painter can do them pretty well.
Yeah. Xnormal is so simple.
That's why I like it.
Load the high res, load the low res, click a button, and you're done.
That's why I like it. It's just so easy. I think Marmoset can do them pretty well too.
Generate normals between the high and the low.
Mm-hmm. I think so. Do you guys have a question from YouTube? Do you have dream projects you'd like to work on someday? I guess we could also talk past tense. Is there ever if you had to have picked like one project to work on, to have worked on? Do you have one?
If I could have worked on something?
Well, they're asking.
Do I have dream jobs, projects you want to work on someday? I mean, not particularly.
Not particularly, yeah.
I mean, I would say that it's like the two that I probably would have said have already happened, which is Lord of the Rings, and then like the new Dune remake. Like, I'm such a fan of Dune that would have been a really, really cool project. So it's just been awesome to watch what people have been saying about it. And obviously, we're going to start getting a lot of art dumps for it, which I really look forward to seeing.
Oh yeah, that'd be cool. Yeah, Dune is a good one.
Yeah, I mean, I still like the David Lynch Dune, but I'm excited to see the new one. So, in a movie theater, hopefully, what was it called?
Hopefully soon. Alamo,
yeah.
The Alamo Draft House. It's my favorite theater. I think I went on like a 15-minute rant about how much I like the Alamo the other day.
Yeah, but you sold it well. All right, generate maps. High, low.
I realized I don't know what his mouth looks like because I picked an image with a beard. I'm gonna have to get a second one.
Zenthorx. I don't know if I'm saying that right. Went to see Dune twice already. The new one, probably going to see at least 2 more times. If you're talking about the new one, then that's exciting to hear that you liked it that much, because I really want it to be good so badly.
Yeah. It's getting good reviews from what I've seen.
Normal map generating. Alex F1's asking if we both use 2K screens. My screen is 2560 by 1600. I'm on a 30-inch monitor.
I have one 30-inch and one 27, so one's a 1080 screen and one's the same as what you were saying for the bigger one.
Yeah, but I've got 3. So like this one is a 30, and then that one's a 27, and that one's a 24. I recognize this. Is this green leaves or something?
Yes. You recognize the free Twitch music now, huh?
And yeah, this is kind of like, this goes way back.
Yeah.
All right, close.
Got any sweet piano jams you're working on, they ask?
No. Although I did play guitar last night for a while, and I did actually play with my synth this morning for a while.
Nice.
So, well, we got a like an application for Woodrow Wilson, and it's from a dude who does like sound stuff, and meaning like gongs, like to create like sound environments and spaces, and listen to some of his stuff online. I'm like, wow, that's pretty simple stuff, very peaceful. Just like, all right, I can do that on my synth pretty easy. Just pick 2 chords and 4 notes and just play them slowly. It's like the whole, like, chanting bowl stuff. It's pretty though. It's very relaxing. All right, let's make something new. New mix. On my project. Actually, let's make a new project. So I came up with a name for this project.
Okay.
Which I don't know what the word means, but it's Niversalmen. Niversomin. And the way I got that is I Googled fantasy name generator.
Yeah, okay.
And I got a good one. So, but yeah, it's like I Googled, let's see.
Yeah, there's a site called Fantasy Name Generator.
Yeah, this one.
Yeah, I've been there many times, yeah.
Oh, yeah. It's great.
Yeah, there's a lot of stuff you can get
Yeah,
from there.
I just like kept reloading it, and then until I saw a word that I was like, man, that's a cool sounding word.
Yeah.
Although some words like look cool when you read them, and then you say it out loud, and it's kind of awkward. So this one is
You're like,
kind
oh,
of
that doesn't work as well.
But yeah. All right, so enrichment. So let's make a new project. Enrichment. And then new mix. BG terrain. Far. 4K. Okay. It came out 2 weeks ago in France.
Yeah, it's been in Europe for a
Oh,
little
that's right. I
while.
heard about that. Yeah, that's trippy.
Such a delay.
I guess they said they were going to make a part 2 if it does well, but I heard it's actually doing pretty well.
I hope so.
Zenthorx is pointing out that you've got a guitar and I've got synth, so and it's called Jam. So not Music Jam.
Definitely. You don't want to hear me play this guitar. I'll promise you that. It is definitely a work in progress skill that I'm still working on.
Sarcona, thank you. So, since VHS days and Darren, I know Darren made a bunch of Gnomon Workshop titles back in the early years, but then stopped. All right, so now I've got my 60,000 poly terrain, and now to see if the normal map wants to work. But I made an X normal.
This is when we need that epic music to see if the reveal works.
Placement, tiling. There we go.
Working?
Yeah. So
Good.
no normal with normal. No normal with normal.
Very nice.
Yeah. So 4K normal map from X normal, and now let's see. Sandy, I'm using a mixer, and so I've got a terrain which is part of a larger environment that you can see if I go inside here. I've made in ZBrush, and then I'm just going to start texturing this stuff. And so this is all sort of stuff sculpted in ZBrush. Look, the music just got a little louder.
Did it? I didn't touch it.
For some reason. But yeah, and then I've got this stuff also blocked out in Maya, and so like I've got a quick just sort of test render. This will all end up in Unreal after I texture it, and so I'm going to start texturing things from the back as we move closer to the camera. So just I'm going to test out the workflow in here with this far terrain. If I hide these two, we can see that back there. All right, so I'm going to start with some solid colors.
Yeah, I'm curious how you start with Mixer.
Well, the thing with doing terrains and landscapes, it's basically the most important thing is your masks.
Mm-hmm.
And the masks you can generate and preview just using solid colors. So really basically it's like I block it out with solid colors based on masks, and then once I know the color palette I'm using, I can then look for things in the mixer library that kind of have similar color palettes, even though I can adjust the albedo later. So I'm going to go in here and just see the first one. I don't want to start with that color, so I'm going to just go to a different color. Just like a dark rocky color. And then maybe like a...
They're asking, is it all displacement or is it sculpted?
This is sculpted. So, but it's sculpted using alphas that I generated in World Machine. So if I go into here and you look at this terrain, this was a plane in ZBrush, but the alphas that I used on it, I have in here. So if I go into this little folder, you'll see I've got all these alphas. And so these are technically displacement maps generated in World Machine. And but you can use them as alphas. And so it allows me to sculpt a terrain really, really quickly because I'm just dragging these alphas on based on the overall silhouette that I'm trying to get. Because if I'm working to like a camera, working in World Machine can make it a little bit harder than working in ZBrush and using GoZ to go back and forth between ZBrush and Maya, and Maya's camera.
How do you feel about Adobe removing some of the 3D and moving it to Substance and charging extra? Ooh. I assume you're talking about from Photoshop? Is that what it's removed from? I hadn't seen that.
Let me see. Make this a little lighter so it's easier to see what I'm doing. Yeah, I mean, I'm not surprised that Adobe would do that. I mean, they're obviously acquired Substance with the intent of making money. So it's not necessarily all that surprising.
Right.
Even though that stuff can be very frustrating. I'm going to switch my lighting.
The lighting in Mixer isn't bad. I was pretty happy with it when I was using it.
It's fine. I mean, there's no shadows.
Yeah, I do wish there was better shadows.
So self-shadows would be really, really nice. Because, like, if I'm backlighting this thing, I'm getting, obviously, lighting in places that shouldn't have any.
Yeah.
I'm going to use a more dramatic color so it's easier to see what I'm doing here. Hugo, back in Brazil, had a conference. That was probably the one we did with Saga. Thanks, Hugo. Yeah, we did the Union event with Saga for a few years in Sao Paulo. It was really fun.
Mm-hmm. I remember hearing about that.
Yeah, Sao Paulo's a big city. Zenthorx tried a couple world generator Gaia, never fully satisfied with the result. Not that good in World Machine though, but it seemed to deliver the best results with nice flow maps. Yeah, I love World Machine. World Machine's awesome. Gaia is really cool as well though. So
Do you have is World Machine your favorite of all those, or?
it's the one I know the best, but Gaia's like, much newer, so I just have yet to dive into it. Something I think I'll end up doing on one of our streams, which we kind of talked about.
That'd be cool. I'd like to see it.
It's really, really cool. I mean, I've just watched videos online, and I follow Dax on, social, and he posts a lot of really, really cool stuff with it. So it's definitely super powerful and has a really nice UI compared to World Machine.
So you have is the blue a shadow, or is that red, yellow, blue, or like?
Well, I've got my base color, which is just this.
Got it.
And which ultimately I could really make any color, because I'm just trying to so if I make it more of a blue, so I have blue, red, yellow. So the thing to do first is just generate the masks. And so because once you have the masks, you're basically just making a layered shader using these masks. But with solid colors, it's a lot easier to see where things are, because if it's like a bunch of different rock textures that have similar color palette, it's kind of hard to see from a distance how they're where each thing is. So I'm really just gonna play with the settings for the red one is using the normal mask. So when you right click, you can create a mask stack. So normal is kind of like in Maya, it would be the snow shader, where you can basically create a mask based on the normals, which is why it's called normal of your mesh. So for putting something on, whether it's the normals that are pointing up, which is what you would use for dust or sand or snow. And so for the normal mask, I have the angle set to basically 90 degrees. And so that's the red is just going on the tops of things. While the yellow, the mask I use for the yellow is a curvature. Right now I have it set to edges, and then I can sort of play with that to determine where the yellow is going to be. And I can adjust contrast and all that kind of stuff.
Pixel Venture from Twitch says, finally got Ember Gem. Actually, the whole Jenga effect suite. Stoked to do real-time effects. Quality has progressed significantly from the last time I had checked. Trying to finish a short film, so this will be a game changer. That's awesome. We'll actually be having an event tomorrow with the creator of Ember Gem on our stream, and he'll be showing a little bit of a demo there, so that's cool.
Yeah, which is awesome.
Look at that. It just got posted in the chat if you want to check it out. Thank you.
Yeah, Ember Gem is rad. I haven't played with it since, a few months ago, where we were doing the art jams where I made that scene with the green serpent, and it's kind of like the last time I used. Actually, no, I think I did. We did an art jam after that where I made some fire on a dude's head using it.
That sounds right.
Really easy.
Yeah, it's super cool. I played with it a little bit when I was in the fellowship trying to get a specific look for a helicopter landing, but I wasn't sure if a flip book, which I was able to get out, it didn't seem like that was going to be the ideal type of sprite that I needed. So I wanted to play with it more because it was really cool to be able to do stuff that quick in effects. It's not usually that intuitive, but I was really digging it. Somebody's asking, is Mixer better than Substance Painter? I don't know if it's necessarily better. It's not as deep.
They're different.
They're super
They have
different.
different applications. So Mixer's free, so you might as well have it and you might as well play with it. It doesn't take long to learn. So,
Hmm.
but Mixer is great because you've got this huge online library of materials that you can access for free that are all based on photogrammetry scans, so they're really high quality. So it's Mixer's great for like blending these materials, and it has lots of great mask tools
Hmm.
for how you're going to blend things together. But it's not a paint program like
Right.
Substance Painter or Mari. So if you want to paint textures, that's where you're going to see people using things like 3D Coat or Substance or Mari. Um, but since Mixer is free, it's just a great tool to have
Hmm.
as well.
Yeah, I mean, it has the whole power of the Megascans ecosystem in it, so it's got a lot of really great stuff in there to begin with, and it's going to continue to get better, I'd assume, as
Yes.
they make more assets and scan more stuff.
Uh, Kaloth is asking if we recommend a standalone tablet not connected to a PC to work with ZBrush on.
Hmm.
I've never done that, so I'm not sure.
Yeah, I mean, the only things I can think of are like the Wacom and I think we talked about it last week, but like the Huions. I think is
But
what they're
those aren't
called.
all-in-ones, are they?
Those
I
ones,
think he's sounding for an all-in-one.
there is a Wacom Studio Pro or something like that, which has one, which is an all-in-one. But
Okay.
I've never, I've only used like a demo one. I've never actually used it, so I can't speak to how powerful it is or usability it is like long term. I liked it when I used it. Epic Games made a smart move, capturing where the industry was going. They made a lot of really smart moves with some of their acquisitions of, you know, kind of gathering up and creating their own ecosystem of and suite of tools. It's pretty cool. Especially that pretty much all of them are free, which is nice. It's got like this line that goes from his eyeball down to his cheek. It's really interesting.
Rock, 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 rock.
So do you start with a smart material, or are you just going for an individual material? Like an individual mega scan material?
Yeah, not a smart material, because smart materials are really just presets
Mm-hmm.
of just random materials from in here that are just layered together with masks.
Mm-hmm.
So it seems like it's for something like this, it's easier to just sort of grab some rock or moss or grass or whatever, sand, and just start layering them in with the masks.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm just deciding which one I'm going to start with. Would be interesting if Unreal bought Jenga. It would be. I think they got a mega grant though from Epic, so which makes a lot of sense.
Yeah. From what I recall, I remember seeing that the mega grant. Zenithor says, I wonder if game engines were/have been used in movie/series productions over the last decade. I mean, there's obviously been the rise of LED walls and all virtual production techniques. So Mandalorian obviously being the biggest that most people are aware of.
How many years ago is Mandalorian now? 2?
I think so. I mean, there's 2 seasons, right? So it's at least 2.
Yeah. So yeah, it's been done before that, but I think that's the one that everybody kind of is aware of, and then it's now becoming obviously a much more common thing. So, you know, the new Obi-Wan show is coming, so that's obviously going to probably have a lot of it. A lot of LED wall stages are starting to go up.
This is he's got so many like wrinkles and like defining lines in his face, trying to like get them all lined up. Figure out the proportions. It's really difficult. I always have so much respect for people who like really can nail likenesses. I saw some like Hossein Diba, I think is his name, has done some really good ones.
Yeah. He's really good at it. Chris is really good at it.
Yeah.
Yeah, we talked about it a little bit on stream last time. It's not really a production thing to do as much of it now that scanning is a thing. It's more of a personal exercise thing.
How long would it take to make a proper, fine, detailed face? Oh, that's a tough question. Like if you're talking about like super high res renders, and you know, it can take you weeks to get a really good one. I haven't done too many faces specifically in a long time that are high res like that, but It also depends on like what your goal is. Things like texture XYZ have helped be able to get more natural pores and details on the face. But if it's like a digital double, it can take you a long time. I remember working on Iron Man 3, and when I was doing that, one of the groups that I worked with was from Digital Domain, and they were the same people who at the time were doing, or had just wrapped, I think, Tron Legacy. And that was when they were trying to do they did Jeff Bridges, super high res, and they said that they worked on him for months, like months and months and months and months. Like one artist would just spend almost their entire time working on just that character and the blend shapes for the character. And that kind of rabbit hole goes down pretty deep, because if you're just doing a render, that's a different thing than doing the whole actual animatable face and the topology and the textures and the blend shapes and that there's a lot that goes into that. So it can take a long time. Alex, who do you think is the best Batman's Alfred? There's obviously Jeremy Irons here.
Yeah, I don't know about Jeremy. Sometimes it's hard with people like him or Michael Caine, because I associate them with so many other characters.
Mm-hmm.
So like.
What's the one you remember the most?
I feel from Tim Burton's Batman. I don't know the name of the actor.
I don't either, but yeah.
But I feel like he was well cast. But it was partly because I didn't recognize him as an actor, so like it was easier for me to accept him as Alfred.
Mm-hmm.
But Michael Caine was great.
I liked Michael Caine, I think, probably the most. I just like Michael Caine, though.
Exactly.
So you could put him in anything, and I'm going to watch that probably, or at least enjoy watching him. Now every face is going to have its deepfake version applied on top. Deepfake, that is definitely, like, I think it's definitely changed the way that like the average person views VFX and stuff like that in a way, because everybody sees them now. Or something comes out, or Face App or Reface or any of those. It's kind of interesting.
Pretty scary what's possible with those.
Yeah.
There's a Tom Cruise one that pops up on TikTok sometimes. And it's like pretty impressive. It's like a Tom Cruise impersonator.
Okay.
Who's putting a deep fake of Tom Cruise on top of himself. And it's quite convincing.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Which is gotta be horrifying to be a celebrity, knowing people are doing that to you.
Oh, yeah.
So creepy.
It's looking like you got some nice detail in there now. Or you're getting there.
Yeah, just trying to get the masks sorted for like vertical faces versus doing the vertical faces that are facing us first, and then I think I'm gonna now put some sand or something on the flat parts. So now I have to decide. Let's see which mask was that. That's this one. Don't want that. Mesh and base normal map. There we go. Yeah, it's nice that Mixer lets you, when you're doing your normal mask, that you can specify like what it's using to generate the normal for that. Because if it's using the layer that's directly below it and how that modifies the normal map, you get something kind of, noisy like this, because it's, the normals are pointing up in a lot more places as opposed to my original normal map, which is this. So it's nice that it lets you choose where you want, like which layer set you're extracting the normal information for this mask. It's kind of nice.
Yeah.
So I'm going to use that one. So mesh and base normal. So I will copy that. And then what color do I want it to be?
This is my least favorite part of sculpting a face, is when I decide I'm going to try to put real eyeballs in here, because I get like kind of close. I'm like, this will be fine. But now I'm going to add more detail, and I'm going to put the eyelid in. And at this point, you got to wrap it around a sphere, and there's always a moment where I'm like, oh, this is going really poorly. Like, I have to adjust everything now.
I should save. Have you saved?
Very early on, but I'll save now. What do you guys think of the latest What If episode? I haven't watched the latest What If episodes. I think I'm 2 or 3 behind.
Yeah, I haven't watched that show either. Although I just saw a crazy trailer last night for a show out of Korea called, what's it, Squid something?
Squid something? Yeah, Squid Zone?
Squid Game?
Squid Game. That sounds right.
Yeah, trailer was nuts.
Yeah, it looked interesting.
Yeah, it's like I just watched, what's it, Battle Royale, like a month ago.
Yeah.
Trailer made me think a little bit of that.
Are those both Korean? I think Squid Game is, right?
Battle Royale, I think, is Japanese.
Oh, is it? I don't remember.
All right, so I need another material.
Korean. What latest What If is one of your favorites? Oh wow, that's cool. If not your most favorite of all. That's awesome. I'm gonna have to check it out. I've seen some of the screenshots or whatever people have been posting, or articles. It's kind of hard to avoid those at some point. So I have some ideas as far as what's there, but it seems like they're doing some cool stuff.
Rosanny, Josh is using ZBrush and I'm using Mixer. Oh, Zen answered. Thank you, Zen.
Mm-hmm. So are you stacking multiple materials within one, or do you normally just go with one material?
I just added my third. So
I'm gonna highlight you so I can actually see what you're working on.
well, I had my my masks that I kind of generated, and then now I'm sort of swapping out these solid colors. And so I had like a base rocky texture which doesn't have a mask, and then on top of that there's this one which is adding like this kind of cliff face texture to the parts of the mesh that are more vertical, which is using this normal mask. And I just added this one. I don't know if it's going to work, which is Hawaiian lava stone, but I didn't realize it had all this plant debris on it. So I might not use it, but I'm going to increase the repetitions on it a bit. And that might allow me to get away with it. And also, I'm texturing something that, again, is going to be in the fog and far away. So there's this one is going to be very forgiving as far as what I do.
Right.
And then I'm going to put its mask back on. Sort of see where that's going. And then I'm going to tell this not to wrap. So I just have to figure out the repeats that I want on this thing. It's actually all right. And then this is a 4K map that I'm generating for this dude, which is fine because, again, it's just a background mountain range, basically.
Yeah.
Because if this was an up-close thing, then I'd probably generate the masks in Mixer and then send the masks to Unreal and then do a tileable blended, material so that I'm actually tiling the textures in Unreal, so you get way more texture resolution that way than just baking it into a 4K map. But for this, it's a background object. So what color do I want this lava stone texture to be?
Nice. Zenithor says you rewatched Return of the King last weekend. Can't believe how well those films aged.
Me too. I rewatched all 3 of the extended editions 2 weeks ago. They are fucking amazing. I mean, Jesus Christ. They are such good movies. I mean, and it'd be so sad if they weren't, because the book meant a lot to me as a kid, and just the, there's so much bonus material in the extended editions because I bought them, and work and like the passion and dedication from everybody that went into that. It's amazing.
Yeah,
so
absolutely.
I agree, then those movies are awesome, especially Return of the King. But yeah, watching the making of it's crazy, like these insane sequences that were added like so late in the game.
Really?
And then this dude Gray Horsfeld, who was like this lead effects dude at Weta, where like did the Balrog, like all the effects and fire and smoke on the Balrog. And then for Return of the King, he's interviewed, and I guess when Sauron's tower sort of collapses and shatters and explodes at the end, I guess instead of going home for Christmas, he just stayed at the office for 2 weeks and basically did that shot by himself.
All
and
right.
It's just like, dude. And it's also, you have to remember, this is 20 years ago, so like 3D tools were also a bit slower back then.
And not as intuitive in a lot of ways. You're gonna do things way differently. And I'm just trying to imagine like render times to see what something would look like. Like it's crazy. Yeah, 2001 to 2003. That's crazy. I think we're probably getting close to watching them. We might watch them as like a Thanksgiving, like over Thanksgiving session kind of thing. Which is weird to say because it's like you were saying, it's almost Halloween, or it's almost October in like 2 days.
Super weird.
You must have had zero margin for error back then. I think you had a margin for error. It's just how much longer it took you to be able to see what it looked like, art direct it.
I mean, definitely once they got to Return of the King, just from watching the bonus material, just they were adding so many shots so late that they basically had no time. They just had to get it perfect
on the first try.
Yeah. But after several years of working on those movies, it sounds like the teams were, in the zone.
Mm-hmm.
All right, what am I going to put?
All right, here we go. I'm breaking symmetry. I'm just going to sculpt it. Just sculpt it. I should add before we do that.
The awesome hell has an intense name, but just asked a polite question. Musical instruments in the background. So yeah, we both do. Like I've been playing piano since I was like a teenager. Not great at it though, because I've spent most of my time like focused on the 3D stuff, but it's more for myself, for fun. But music is a definite hobby. But hobbies other than music, really art and music are my hobbies, I would say. Meaning things that I spend a bunch of time on.
Right.
And then you just started learning guitar.
I did. I started kind of midway through pandemic. So that was one of my things where I just kind of wanted to learn something new, do something new. So that's kind of been a hobby I've had or started. Hobbies, ones that I haven't picked up in a while just because it produces too much food around my house, is I like to bake. I like to bake mostly cookies.
Yeah, your cookies.
Yeah.
Haven't had those in forever.
Yeah. So I like baking. Games. I like playing games. Video games, tabletop games. That's mostly it. Well, this is showing me that my eye shape is wrong, so that's exciting. Now he's very cross-eyed. Is there like a snow on there, or is that just a backlight?
That's the light. It's causing that to happen. I just know my scene is the light's gonna be behind this thing, so that's why I keep putting the light over there.
Makes sense.
Yeah, because if you can texture something kind of with the lighting it's gonna be, then you'll probably save a little bit of time. So I won't worry about things that might not be seen.
Right.
Like I know, like I'm not going to see the back of this thing, so like I'm not worried about the fact that the back of this thing doesn't look good because I know it's going to be seen from this angle.
Makes sense.
Although, of course, now that I spun it around, I'm like, but maybe I will make it look better from the other side. We're on a stream. Let's see what's causing that to. It's not really that guy. It's more this guy. Could use another mask. What mask is on? He's got a normal mask.
Is Return of the King your favorite of the trilogy?
Never really thought about having a favorite. I see them as one thing now.
Just all? Yeah.
Yeah.
Ooh, Zenithor said New Dune entered top 10 film of all time. Oh boy.
Well, that's also awesome to hear.
I'm excited for it. Trying to like keep my expectations low, but also, not wanting it to be good.
I don't like this material, so I'm going to get rid of it. Try a different one.
You're also just a fan of Denis Villeneuve.
Villeneuve.
Villeneuve? Is it
Isn't it?
Villeneuve? I
I
don't
don't
know.
think it's Villeneuve, but you could be right. Depends on where he's from.
At this point, though. Yeah, I like his movies.
Denis, I believe, isn't it? Denis Villeneuve.
Oh, I have no idea. I'm saying it in the only way that I feel like I would pronounce it, but it's a very American thing, so. That's perfectly right. Which one is perfectly right? Apparently the way you're saying it is correct.
Ah.
No.
Zen. Exactly. That is how my mom would say it.
Sicario, Arrival, Blade Runner, Dune. All good.
Mm-hmm.
You gotta check out Prisoners. If you haven't seen that one.
I have not.
It's another one of his earlier ones. It's really good. Kind of went under the radar. It's Jake Gyllenhaal, Hugh Jackman, but I don't know if it didn't get a big release or something. But I don't know. Some people know it, but somehow it went under the radar with that cast and him making it. I feel like Jeremy Irons has incredibly small eyeballs, which is a sentence I never thought I'd say before. But after looking at his face for an hour, I'm like, there's something going on here that just feels weird. It's always weird when you do research on a project and you're start learning more about a thing than you expected to. It doesn't really matter what the thing is, but there's always something where you're like, oh, I know way more about this now than the average person does. Yeah, I liked Hugh Jackman in that movie. Like you're saying, he was a role that's not he's not normally in. But I quite liked it. He does a pretty broad range of roles, though.
Yeah, I need to see that.
Picture Venture says you just bought the Lord of the Rings trilogy extended edition, 8 hours of featurettes. It definitely will be the source of inspiration. Yes, for sure. Enjoy those. Do you have specific, because it's going to be in the background, like, do you have specific colors in mind? Obviously, you're going for kind of darker grays and stuff, but
No, really just darker grays.
Mm.
Darker, cool grays. But I'm also just kind of experimenting too. Just trying different stuff out. Because that's also fun.
Yeah, just see what comes out of it.
Mm-hmm.
This stream is like meditation. Well, this music helps. Like,
Yeah. Yeah. Just zoning out with music and playing with Mixer. So
I think we just stepped into a tavern, maybe.
we totally did. It comes in pints.
Yeah, speaking of. Yeah, yeah, we're definitely in Hobbit territory. BRB getting a flag and a veil. Have you saved recently?
I have saved fairly recently.
He's Xenosaur's asking if Mixer is crash prone. I didn't have
No.
any crashes with it.
No, not really.
Yeah, I don't recall.
A comment made me save.
Yeah, you're just like, oh, just in case I manifested a crash right there, I'll save real quick. I don't remember having any though. It was pretty stable. It did get a little slow using multiple like texture sets all at once for me, but it wasn't crashy. Just chugged. Got a question for me. When you model mechanical objects / characters from movies, do you have to worry about the mechanics on how it's going to animate and or move, or does it happen after it gets passed on to VFX? When I was working in visual development, no, not specifically, meaning we wouldn't do loads of animation tests to make sure that something was working. But we would put the thought into it to, say this is likely where it could move, this is how it could, do something. So it was kind of a yes and no, meaning we wouldn't do the work ourselves, but we would try to make the work that somebody else would do down the line easier, because we had kind of thought about it. So a little bit, but when you're working on a big VFX movie where there's crazy kind of animations and stuff that can happen, things like Transformers, for example, for me is a good one to point to, where the reality of those robots transforming in most of those instances is like impossible, but the viewer can still believe it because there's enough moving parts and enough animation that makes it feel possible. So in the designs and models that we would do, often we would kind of hint at details or hint at elements that could be used kind of as a starting point for where an animation could start, for just to maybe a part line, a panel line, just a starting point where the VFX teams could take over and work from. Good question. Thank you. Alex F1 from Twitch says that terrain texture is looking so good.
Thank you. It's definitely fun, just that it's pretty interactive.
Mm-hmm.
It's just so awesome to have this huge library of materials.
Yeah.
I mean, the thing is that you end up spending, maybe there's more to play with, which is fun. So I might end up spending longer on this than I kind of need to, just because I'm enjoying fiddling with it, considering this is going to be in the fog and far away.
Yeah, still fun to
I'm
play
also
with.
more like prone to experiment on something that doesn't matter as much, and so that's kind of a bonus.
Now with this one, this is the first piece that you're texturing, is that correct?
Yeah.
Do you use this, or do you think you'll use this as like, because you're experimenting here, as like a starting ground for the rest of your textures?
Yeah, potentially. So, I mean, if I get enough layers in here, I can use some layers on some pieces and not on others, because there is, a bunch of stuff like this surrounding the area that we're going to be in. So I'll be able to probably use this as a start point, because right now I'm texturing this thing that's up on the top, and then there's going to be this one, which could probably have a similar, and then there's these that are closer to us. So, yeah. So right now I'm just sort of seeing what I can end up with, just based on the alphas or the masking that's in here versus trying to generate a mask another way, meaning outside of Mixer. Meaning like, ZBrush's masking tools are also pretty cool.
Yeah, cavity masking and
cavity and AO and peaks and valleys and all that stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, because the thing I don't get by making it the way I made it, it's supposed to, in World Machines, I don't get flow maps, like erosion and flow maps, and those are obviously pretty cool. But it's not impossible to get one of those after the fact, but it's a bunch of steps though, because I'd have to take like this as a displacement into World Machine to erode it and get the flow maps that would come out of that.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but instead of doing that, I don't think I necessarily need it for this piece.
We have the Jeremy iron nose down. It's getting there. This is becoming Jeremy Irons like. It's not necessarily a likeness, but it's like. This is weird, but one of my favorite Jeremy Irons movies is actually Die Hard 3.
Oh my god.
Specifically, Die Hard with a Vengeance is the name of the movie, but
Okay.
I like it. I like it a lot. I don't know. I probably watched it when I was too young, and probably too much, and probably like with my dad or something. But I loved it. I don't know. I still have fond memories for that movie.
That's pretty funny.
Here, Die Hard 3. Take a step back. Yeah. Mm-hmm. What about Aragon? I remember Aragon. I don't remember loving Aragon though.
Yeah, I don't think. I mean, that's a series of books that's pretty popular. That's
Yeah.
the dragon one, right?
Yeah.
I feel like the movie wasn't great, and that's why we didn't see more Aragon movies, because I think there's a bunch of books.
There's a ton of books from what I remember.
Yeah.
I've never read any of them, but watch the movie, forget it on the way home. I've had many of those for sure. You're like, oh yeah, we watched that. Did I watch that?
It's so weird how our brains work. It's like I watched Oblivion again the other day, which I really, really liked, and I remember loving it when I saw it in the theaters. And I watched the movie, and like, I didn't remember some important stuff about this movie. It's like enough years go by, it's just kind of like, I don't know. Maybe I'm just getting old.
It's just time. Die Hard 3 is the airport one? No, that's Die Hard 1 and 2. Die Hard 3 is the one in New York City with Samuel L. Jackson. And
Yeah,
Jeremy
the
Irons.
airport one with the
that's
crazy
2.
famous matte painting.
What's the crazy famous matte painting? What is the...
This one. Here, I'll Google it. All the airplanes in the snow.
Yeah. I think that was... Yeah, that's 2. Number 1 is obviously a Nakatomi.
Yeah, but it's like, look at that. It's like,
yeah.
so awesome. It's
Okay.
like,
Enhance.
that is a proper painting
Yeah.
before computers.
Is it on glass, do you think? Or is that just a painted painting?
So, well, I mean, it doesn't look like it's got any. There we go.
I'm looking
I mean,
for
it looks
like
the whole thing is just filling the frame. So, I mean, I forget where they would have comped, people in, but maybe there's somewhere in here there were probably some comped people walking.
Yeah, it's beautiful.
Yeah, a bunch of these are at ILM, which if you ever get a tour of ILM, you can see some of the famous matte paintings. I think the end of Indiana Jones is probably the most famous one. The end of Raiders.
The crates.
The crates, yeah.
Yeah.
Raiders, matte painting. Yeah, that one.
Yeah, that one's all amazing. There's a whole...
It's funny, if you ever see one of these in person, like you can see all the brushstrokes because like they're so big.
Yeah. There's a whole series that I found on YouTube, which is because I think they had some shows on it at some point, but it's basically like the history of a bunch of those matte paintings. It's a painting. the ship, the planes are Raiders. The planes are beautiful for sure.
I mean, matte paintings have been around since the beginning of cinema. So like if any of you are interested in learning about matte paintings, just like, Google glass matte paintings, from the 20s, 30s. I mean, every decade, matte paintings were how they did set extensions very, very often. So like once they figured out how to do it, it became a very, very common thing. So even though I don't have any flow maps, I'm just kind of like making my own.
Are you just painting it in?
So, well, I created a mask just with a solid blue color that's just based on like cavities, and then I'm just painting out where I don't want it, so it kind of looks like a flow map. Ish. And then I'll figure out what texture to put in the area that's solid blue.
Flow map, like. It's like a flow map.
Zen, ILM, I've been to ILM a couple of times for tours just because I know people who work there. So, and so that's how I was able to get a tour. So I've luckily been able to visit lots of studios, but I would say ILM up for obvious reasons is one of the coolest ones because there's so much stuff everywhere. It's like they have a Yoda fountain out front, and then you walk into the lobby and there's all these life-size figures, and it's just artwork and models and miniatures all over the place. It's really, really cool. But I think I did a tour with Chris Costa once, and he showed me around.
That's cool.
And then I went, I think with Ian once.
That'd be fun. Both of those sound fun, but just in general, being able to tour around sounds awesome.
Oh yeah. Although the coolest tour by far, Weta Workshop.
Yeah, I remember you telling me about that one a while ago.
Dude, so much stuff everywhere. It's like there's a wall of swords, there's a wall of shields, there's a room
Yeah.
of armor, there's just and from all these props from all these different movies, from District 9 to Lord of the Rings.
Mm-hmm.
It's Avatar, pretty cool. Although a lot of the props and stuff were made by Legacy, so that's another cool place to go. So you probably saw a lot of that stuff.
Oh yeah, I saw a lot of that stuff there. Especially mostly costume stuff, costume or creature or character.
Yeah. I think that's the second time I've taken a sip of my coffee to be disappointed because it's empty. Switching it up.
Looks like a place where Thanos could power an Infinity Stone. Yeah, I could see that.
Gravel, soil. Gravel, 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 gravel. Where do they have gravel in here? Gravel. Powdered coal and sand. That could work. Let's see, that is set to box. Wrap is at 1. Okay. Copy mask stack. Paste. Mask stack. Copy. Wait, what? You can't copy a paint mask?
Can't copy a paint mask? It's weird. Can you attach it to something else or something and
It's weird because you can copy and paste mask stacks. So why can't I copy a paint mask? Load, invert, clear.
Is it just not letting you copy it?
I can copy and paste the mask stack, like the procedural mask stack, but the hand-painted paint mask that I painted on the layer, it doesn't let me copy paste, which is surprising. I mean, it's easy to redo it on this layer. It's just harder to see. Zen is surprised that he's interested in seeing Matrix 4 after 2 and 3 sucked. 2 is okay. 3 is dumb, in my opinion.
After 2 and 3 sucked.
Well, he didn't.
He didn't say that, but that was yeah. That was a little flavor, but I mean, I liked the ideas of 2. I liked what they added with the ideas, but it was not my favorite.
But yeah, I'm curious about 4. I will obviously see 4.
Mm-hmm.
But, you know, like we said the other night. So it's like, so we can see John Wick in the Matrix.
He looks a lot like John Wick. I wish they would have just cut his hair. It can stay long, but just any other style.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that is definitely the surprising thing about it.
Midway in Matrix 2, it just went downhill for you. Yeah, that sounds about right. I'm just very curious about the story.
Yeah.
Like, what are they doing to roll this all back in?
I mean, I think it's just the whole, like, you know, since they said it's been happening over and over again, they basically have carte blanche to make more movies of other, incarnations of Neo.
Right.
So.
Which I get that, but is it just going to be another version of the story? I'm curious. I'm like,
I don't know if it'll be related to the original story at all.
Like at all, yeah. I kind of hope it isn't. Almost rather just see what one of those other versions is like.
Albedo, roughness, normal, 4K. That's where it goes. That's where it goes.
Are you exporting?
Export. Yeah, just to see what it looks like.
Yeah.
Zen, yes, Monica Bellucci was awesome in Matrix 2.
I don't even remember. It's been so long since I've seen Matrix 2.
How can you not remember Monica Bellucci?
I don't remember much of Matrix 2, to be honest with you, except for like the mechs, the suits they wore. I remember that. I think that was in 2, right?
So I'm trying to remember the name of the dude that Monica Bellucci was with, and my brain's wanting to say Mandalorian, but it wasn't Mandalorian. It was something that sounds like that. Matrix 2 characters. Merovingian.
Uh-huh.
Uh-huh. Mandalorian, Merovingian.
You're not far off.
A person can get confused.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So let's see. Is that the right geo back there? 61,000 should be.
He's a French actor, of course you know. Yeah.
He was great too, though. I thought his performance was really cool.
Maybe I'll have to watch them again, because I feel like I've done what I did with Alien 3 and 4, which is I merged them into one movie in my brain. So I'm having trouble separating Matrix 2 and 3. Which one was the Keymaker?
2.
Okay. And the twins was the Keymaker, was 2.
The albino, like cornrow dread.
Yeah.
Yes, that was 2.
Okay.
Redshift normal map.
For some reason, I just remember that he blows on the key. It's like, I'm the Keymaker.
Oh yeah,
I don't
you grind
remember.
the key. It's covered in dust. Metal
Right.
shading. You gotta blow them off.
Sure. Just like that's how he gets introduced, or for some reason I was like, that little line I remember probably more than anything else that happens in the movie. Aside from, I remember what you're saying in the car chase and the albinos. But it also does sort of remind me of just the Keymaker. Just reminds me of the Ghostbusters with the Keymaster and Zool. some sprints.
A net bug. I just saw your question. The Rock Mountain, well, now you kind of seen because I've opened this scene up, but it's just part of a bigger environment. Oh, sweet. Maya just crashed. See?
It's always
so I can
fun.
use Mixer for 2 hours and it doesn't crash. Jump over to Mixer for a minute. I think the issue is RAM. This computer doesn't have a lot of RAM, so it doesn't really like having lots of programs open.
Mm-hmm.
It's weird. Maya crashed, and now Mixer's viewport doesn't want to update.
Well, that's not good.
The hell?
Time to save as a new file.
ZBrush is fine.
It could just be a RAM thing. And they're all just competing.
So Unreal running, which I really don't need at the moment. So I'm going to close Unreal. So weird. Like Maya crashing caused Mixer to freak out, so I don't know who confused who. Now the save window and Mixer is freaking out.
Sounds like you're going through a real
Weird.
chain of events there.
Does the Gnomon CG challenge still happen? The Gnomon Workshop still has a challenge contest, which is quarterly. That runs via the Gnomon Workshop Facebook page. So if you go to the Gnomon Workshop Facebook page, you'll find the group for the Gnomon Workshop contest. All right, ZBrush, you can close too, because I don't need you open. I guess I'm going to have to force quit Mixer.
Wow. So that's the first time, I think.
Super weird. Okay. Let's try that again. Verdell asked if the strike is going to stop any of the projects we're on. Not for us, because we both work at Gnomon.
Mm-hmm.
So we're just doing personal things. but I have not been following that. Have you?
A little bit that IATSE. I know that they were voting to strike. I didn't see the results of it though. Are there results? Or is there one? I guess is the question.
Let's see. All right, I've got RAM available, so
The vote is soon. Yeah, that's what I thought.
all right. Well, not bad. I'll see if it loads my save. Hopefully I don't have to restart. It looks like it's
Hopefully
loading.
not. It does take a little while to open Mixer. I found after you're working on a file with lots of textures in it.
Yeah, that loaded pretty fast.
That's good.
But yeah, like when I was doing experiments with Mixer, and instead of having like a 60,000 poly mesh like this is, and I tried having like a 2 million poly mesh, it would take forever for Mixer to load, which was kind of disappointing because just thinking about the future with Unreal 5, if you really do want to texture your ZBrush models and export like 2 million poly or higher models from ZBrush to Unreal, you still need to texture them. So if you're going to texture a 2 million poly model in Mixer, you're going to have some serious wait times just on loading, but
yeah,
whatever. Okay, so this guy's textured. So now I'm going to move on to the next one, which is closer to camera. So, but now I need ZBrush open again, which I closed. Zen, how can you texture with so many polys? Are we going to end up texturing in under 5? Exactly. Right. Yeah, I don't know. Because I haven't really ever tried to texture I've textured high poly models using Polypaint in ZBrush, but as far as texturing a super high poly model in Mixer, that's something that I haven't, it works. You just have to wait a while for it to load the model. But it still works. Okay. So now we'll texture this one, which is a little closer to us. So this dude is only 2 million polys. Okay, is he UV'd? Yes. Yeah, I saw that for nanite that you don't need displacements or normals. Just send super high res geo.
Mm-hmm.
But obviously, like if you're texturing things, then you still need normal maps because your normal map is for texture-based detail that has nothing to do with the mesh specifically. So, and you can't really, bake normal map details into geometry the way you can with like a displacement map. So, I mean, I guess you can, but there's not like a one-button way to do it that I know of. All right, what am I going to do with this guy? How many polys am I going to send? So, Maya. This guy is 43,000. Yeah, fine. Okay, 43,000 for that guy. Export. Data. 2x normal. BG terrain mid. 43K. Export. Geometry. Export. BG terrain mid. 3 million. Let's see. Yeah, it's like the whole Unreal 5 thing. I don't know if you saw, there's like a new on Steam. There's a downloadable Unreal 5 like mini game demo. Did you hear about that, Josh?
Huh.
It's like a marketplace. Let's see if I can find it. Let's see, Unreal 5 Steam demo market. There it is. Yeah, it's this I saw. I haven't downloaded it yet, but it popped up online yesterday.
Mm-hmm.
So Unreal 5 impressive free tech demo, and Market of Light. So it's just a little demo. So supposedly, so it only takes 15 to 30 minutes. And I guess you can fly around this little market, and it's super high res and looks really pretty. And so I looked it up on Steam, and it's 20 gigs.
20 gigs.
20 gigs for this little scene because of nanite.
Yeah.
It's like you just have these like massive meshes with these massive, probably using like 8K textures. So if you just imagine a game like Uncharted.
Yeah, that's what I was going to.
At
Yeah.
this resolution, you're talking about like a 2 terabyte game.
Yeah, it's a lot. It's a lot of data.
So, yeah, I'm pretty sure. So, yeah, I was going to download it this morning, and then I saw it was 20 gigs, and I was like, not with my internet speed out here.
Maybe not here, yeah.
Last night I sat down at the computer to play Diablo.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, I'm just gonna, because I was playing it last weekend, so I'm like, I'm gonna play a little bit of Diablo, and I forgot that I haven't downloaded it here. And so I sat down at the computer, and I'm like, oh, guess I'll play it tomorrow.
I'll play later.
The store Market of Light. There it is. Yeah, so here it is in Steam, but why isn't it playing anymore? For some reason. There we go. Looks like a little market. Yeah, I don't know. It's just my internet. There's stills. You can look at the stills. Oh, they're kind of small. Full size in browser. Click. Oh, it's loading over here. I mean, it doesn't really look that much more high res than just a regular game, but
It doesn't, yeah.
but yeah, somewhere in here I saw where it. Forget where it's got the size. There it is.
What does it say?
25 gigs.
Oh, dear Lord. Why?
Well, look how close you can get to stuff.
Well, I guess that's true.
Yeah, so that's pretty cool.
Well, that's cool, yeah. So it's not just a. I mean, what is that
Okay.
thing? Is that a light
I think
bulb?
we're down at the soil, and I guess it's a mini game. So like you're going around collecting these little orbs. I think we're inside a raspberry.
Yeah, I think you are. So I
Yeah,
think they're probably trying to get the point across that it can appear normal on the surface.
Yeah, but it's like 25 gigs, dude. Dude.
Well, you got to be able to get in that raspberry.
Yeah, I saw that the Death Star. Zen. Somebody made like a Death Star with nanite.
That's cool.
All right, now to make. Oh, where'd it go? Now to make my normal map. Remove. Add mesh. Which one are we on? Low. Remove. Add. It's funny how this playlist takes us between like fantasy Europe and fantasy Asia.
Yeah.
All right, I've got my high, I've got my low. 4K, you're going to go into the same directory, but you're going to be called. Ay. It. 4K, 2x normal, BG terrain, mid, default, high res mesh, low res mesh, baking options, generate maps.
And there it goes. That's why I like that program. It's just so simple. It's like just pick what you want, and then you'll be done.
Is this the same playlist from last week or a different one?
I think it's the same one.
Oh, that's a good one.
Twitch safe fantasy music.
Yeah. It's a good one, isn't it?
Yeah, it's not bad. 13 hours of music. Not too bad.
Okay. Normal map generated. Back to mixer. All right, now load a different model. BG mid. The hell?
Is it doing the same thing?
Mixer just crashed.
Do you have a previous iteration?
Oh, I didn't really lose anything because I'd already just restarted it.
Oh.
But I mean, I could restart the computer, but I'll give it a second.
Okay.
We actually ordered a computer with more RAM like 4 months ago. I actually emailed Eric about it this morning. Yeah, and it's added to the order for fall because we have a bunch of new computers coming for the labs for fall. And but yeah, it's like it's taken forever for this order to come.
Wow.
Because yeah, I'm using this 5-year-old Alienware, which is great, but it's just having multiple programs running.
Yeah, it's 5 years old.
Just need more than 32 gigs of RAM. And unfortunately, for some reason, these Alienwares max out at 32.
Oh, really?
Mm-hmm. Which, at the time seemed like a perfectly acceptable number.
Yeah. So it always seems, right?
Okay, round 2. Swap model. Good. Now swap normal map. Looks normal, far, mid normal map. Okay. Hide all that stuff. There we go. So now I have another terrain from ZBrush in here. All right.
So that's your mid-ground one, right?
It's still pretty far away, but it's because this one, if I go over to Maya's, now it's this one. So you can see it's still kind of behind stuff. So now put on that one, layer on that one. That's going to need adjustments. Yeah, it's too bad that Mixer doesn't like 8K previews.
Yeah, it doesn't. Are you doing 4K previews, like working in 4?
Well, I don't need more than 4K for this model because of where it's going to be, but it's just kind of be nice to be in Mixer and have it not, get close to it and have it not be pixelated.
Oh, totally.
But I mean, I downloaded a new version of Mixer this morning, so I don't know if they've adjusted that. We can try setting it to 8K and see what happens. And see if it still has the warning.
Yeah, I mostly did 2. And then just when I exported, I just exported it at whatever I wanted it to be.
Okay.
That seemed to be okay.
Here we go. Still has the same warning. Experimental resolution.
Ooh.
8K mixing is considered experimental until we have looked further into memory optimizations. Consider saving before switching to 8K.
Well,
Cancel.
That's good advice. Yep.
All right. Save as BG terrain mid. Save. Follow their advice. and then switch to 8K and see what happens. All right. If my computer locks up and freezes and I disappear, I'll be back.
It's been nice, yeah.
Yeah. Hello?
Yeah, you're there.
No, it's now frozen.
Oh, okay.
It says
I mean,
rendering.
it looks nice.
It's rendered. Well, it's pixelated, so it's still showing the 4K. Oh, there we go.
Okay.
It updated.
Was it worth it?
I mean, it's a lot sharper.
Am I going to do hair in ZBrush or XGen? I'm probably not going to do hair at all. I was just kind of sculpting ahead for today. I don't really normally do likenesses, so it's kind of a fun challenge to explore.
All right, I'm going to go back to 4K just to not attempt to crash.
Yeah, that's... At least they told you. They're not like trying to be like, no, it's fine. Is this a smile line on Jeremy Irons' face? He has them on both sides. Smile wrinkles.
What are you looking at? Oh, on
These
that,
like,
oh yeah,
they're like down here on both sides of his face.
that's weird.
They look like a scar, but they're on both sides. At least on, unless this image is flipped, but
Maybe he's manufactured and it's a part line.
it's very possible. This playlist, specifically these types of songs, definitely just make me want to play D&D, though.
For sure.
Just put a little tavern background music on. Favorite Ridley Scott movie? That's a good question.
Blade Runner.
The Blade Runner?
Oh, I mean, there's not even a close second to that one. For me, Blade Runner.
For you?
Well, Blade Runner is like my favorite movie. So
Sure.
even though he's got many amazing movies, I'd say Blade Runner and then Alien,
Yeah, I was going to say Alien.
then Gladiator.
Gladiator is also great. Those are the three that I went straight to my brain, but I wanted to pull up his IMDb to make sure I know like what of his other movies are. He's done so many.
What about you, Zen?
56. Oh, I forgot he directed Legend.
Not my favorite Ridley Scott movie.
He also directed Thelma and Louise. I forgot about that too.
Oh yeah,
That's a really good one.
Yeah.
Black Hawk Down. It's also a very good one.
God, I forgot. That's him?
Yeah. On his IMDb.
Yeah, that I forgot about.
That's a good one. Kingdom of Heaven. I liked that movie, but it didn't stick out as one of his favorites for me.
It definitely has some unbelievably beautiful visuals, that movie.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, when the armies are approaching each other,
Mm-hmm.
and the guy, I forget the story specifically, but the guy with the mask who has leprosy like approaches, and
Mm-hmm.
it's just such an amazing shot. Now I want to look at Kingdom of Heaven.
I heard a rumor that is an uncredited Orlando Bloom in The Mask. Or was it Edward Norton? One of the two. Director's cut, somebody says.
Yeah,
Alien for me. No, uncredited Ed Norton. Thank you. I'm glad somebody else knows. Orlando's the lead. That's right. I haven't seen the movie in a very long time. Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, I would still go with. I personally would go with Alien, but Blade Runner's fantastic, and I love that movie. When we used to live downtown, we would go to the Bradbury Building all the time.
nice.
Which is so cool inside.
And there's also on that, you can walk up to the observatory and walk by the Frank Lloyd Wright House. Which I think they do tours of the inside. Wow, the music just got very epic.
Had those drums in. The title of this song is Hold My Hand and Trust Me. So I think that would be appropriate for a super epic scene.
That's the name of the song?
Yeah. Thought you'd like that.
Yeah, there's definitely all sorts of different things come to mind of what that could mean. And with that as the music.
Yeah.
Salmon flavored ice cream. Hold my hand and trust me.
I'll pass on that. Looks like Ed Norton killed his career at Hollywood. He kind of went off. He kind of disappeared. He's still in a lot of. I think maybe he went to like a director or producery roles. I don't know.
American History X.
Yeah, that was a big one.
That movie, man.
It's an intense movie.
He is amazing in it.
Oh, he's fantastic. I feel like it was after he did The Incredible Hulk.
That wasn't great.
That's where I feel like he started to disappear. And right around, I don't remember any of these dates, so I could be totally wrong. But I feel like that's right around when The Illusionist came out, within a year or two. That was also like shadowed by The Prestige, because I think The Prestige and The Illusionist came out like the same, within like 2 months of each other, which is, I would say, probably my favorite Nolan movie that I watch. I can watch over and over and over and over. You thank Ed Norton for giving us Mark Ruffalo. I'll take it. It's kind of cool to see them starting to tie back in the Incredible Hulk. That because it is technically an MCU movie, but most people don't remember it is. But they're starting to tie it back into some of the more recent ones, because Abomination has like a little cameo in Shang-Chi.
Oh, really?
Mm-hmm. He's in the trailer. It's kind of cool. Really enjoys Moon. And he was in Moonrise Kingdom. I forgot about that. That was a good movie.
That was a very good movie.
I'd like to see Nolan direct a Star Wars film. I'm curious to see what he does next, because he's kind of like broken off from Warner Brothers, right? Or something like that.
That sounds right. Was it something they had some disagreement over the release of Tenet, maybe?
Tenet, yeah. I read an article that John David Washington, who's the lead, I think that's his name, the number one thing that people ask him whenever they meet him on the street is to explain the ending of Tenet.
Yeah, that movie was confusing.
Yes.
Fun to watch, but
Mm-hmm.
you know, I don't know. It's a tough one. I think I have to see it again to appreciate it more, but I don't specifically want to see it again, so that's the problem.
Right. He's slated to do a film about the Manhattan Project.
Okay, well, that's cool.
I'd watch that.
File, save.
Ooh. Yeah. Did you watch any of Foundations yet?
No, not yet. Have you?
I watched the first 2 episodes. We talked about
Oh,
it
yeah,
the
you
other time.
mentioned that. Yeah.
Curious to see what you think about it.
We the new season of Sex Education came out, and that's something we watched, a year ago. And so I think we're like on episode 5 of that. So I think that's what
Nice.
we're watching. I mean, I'm not really watching a lot of shows lately, so. But although Sex Education is really funny.
I haven't seen it.
Oh man, it's got moments that are hilarious.
We just finished Ted Lasso season 2.
Yeah, that I want to watch because of your recommendation. That sounds good.
I really like that show. Big fan. Evan is saying that season opener is wow. Which season opener? Which movie? Only Murders in the Building is a current fave from Adam, I believe.
Only Murders in the Building. I'm not familiar with
Mike
that.
Uwandi. Hello, Mike. Hope you're doing well.
Evan, are you talking about the season opener of Sex Education? Because I remember that. That was definitely entertaining.
Yeah, he is. Is Star Wars Visions worth watching? I haven't watched it. Adam, have you been watching Star Wars Visions? Oh man, that's out too. Yeah, there's a lot of stuff out right now. No, not watching it yet. It's looking cool.
It's getting there.
So how much of that is like from the normal maps in like the sculpt standpoint? How much of that is the original versus like the mixer material
sculpt-
influence?
Well, if I turn everything off, go to this and turn off the normal, then that's the geo.
Okay.
And then that's the geo with the normal map. And again, it's only a 4K map, so we're kind of closer to it than we should be. And so, and then basically, you know, these start getting layered on top. So all of the high frequency detail is coming from Mixer.
Yeah, totally.
And then, you know, what's cool is that, you know, if I exported an 8K map, it would be 4 times higher resolution than this, and cool. But the other thing is that since this has normal UVs with no seams, these are just tileable textures. So if I just exported the mask for each one of these, and just create a layered material in Unreal, and then just tile the textures in there,
yeah,
it would be way higher res than what it looks like.
Right.
I would just need to remember like how many times I tiled something. So like this one's been tiled 16 times. So it's a 4K map tiled 16 times. So that would, if I did that on Unreal, that'd be the equivalent of having, you know, a 600K map.
Right.
You know, so, and then this one has been tiled. Well, I would need to avoid using box projection for it to be able to do it that way. But that's not what I'm doing. But I think that's what I'll end up doing for like the ground in the near ground, the floor. That I want to try that out. So, but that's basically, you know, again, like you, just getting used to Unreal workflows as opposed to Maya workflows, because Maya, you know, I'd be doing things differently. But I think yeah, it'd be cool if Mixer kind of like allowed you to like preview a blend material from Unreal. So
that would be cool.
So you actually build an actual Unreal material in Mixer and export that with the tiling settings. That would be actually awesome.
That'd be super cool. Yeah, that is the thing I think that I had trouble with the most learning Unreal and Mixer and all that stuff, was kind of knowing what the end result would really look like.
Right.
Obviously, you can export it, and it's not hard to export it, but that's like the biggest issue that I ran into, as far as like what am I gonna get out of this, and how much am I gonna have to tweak it afterwards, and you know, how much of it is what you get is what you see is what you get, kind of a workflow.
I mean, obviously, once you get into Unreal, then everything is, you know, you do end up saving a lot of time at that point.
Yeah.
Because everything just is WYSIWYG.
They might as well integrate Mixer into Unreal. They did integrate Bridge after all. That would be awesome. I would love to see that. I'd love to see that in modeling tools. Those are the two things I would personally want to see.
Yeah, if Mixer was integrated into Unreal, that would be crazy.
Mm-hmm.
It would just save you the whole step.
Yeah. Save you a lot of time.
All right, let's see. So file, save. Export. So you're going to there.
Going back and forth is really tedious, really. Yes, it is. The problem I found with it, even though I liked the workflow, was exporting from Mixer to Bridge, and then exporting from Bridge to Unreal. That process just takes a little bit of time. And then, as far as I was aware, I don't know if you can overwrite an existing import from Bridge. So like if you want to have multiple versions of something to check out what it looks like, you start having like multiple stacks of files.
Yeah, I didn't use Bridge as the intermediary. I just exported, like export to disk from Mixer and then just load those as file textures into Unreal.
Right.
So you're saying that if you do choose to go to Bridge, every time you go to Bridge from Mixer, it was creating a new material, a new surface material?
It was for me, yeah. And because I was changing stuff, it wasn't overwriting it. It was just seeing it as like, in Bridge, it sees it as another thing. It doesn't replace that asset. And so it was re-importing multiple versions via pop-up to override. Do you think it overrides? Maybe I was doing something wrong, or maybe because I was adjusting, so I don't really know, but that was the case that I got into, was like, now I have like 7 versions of this thing in my scene.
Go. It took me a couple hours to texture the first one and 20 minutes to texture the second one. That's the
Perfect.
About Mixer.
And I think I'm pretty much at a stopping point with my head, actually. It's like I can keep noodling, but I'm not really going to go too much further, I don't think. Iron's like.
Yeah, for sure.
Sticking with. There's a resemblance, which I'm all right with.
You use Keyshot much?
I used to. I don't really use it all that much anymore often. Like,
yeah.
I just feel like it's starting, in my opinion, Keyshot is starting to get surpassed by other programs. Like, the speed of the rendering, or the drag and drop of the materials, or the ease of use. Other programs are all kind of catching up to that.
Yeah. I mean, there's a simplicity on the way it's integrated, for sure.
Mm-hmm.
But I still prefer to just do my test renders in Maya. We got some flutes.
I'm changing it up. Yeah, I like it for the ease of use, and I think that's the best part about it. And for concept work, it's fantastic for that, because you can toss stuff in, you can adjust things really quickly. But I think it just it's a limited thing. It has a very limited scope of the things that it can do. So is that the one you're texturing right now?
I just did this one.
Oh, that's the one you're texturing.
I did that one first, then this one. Next will be that one.
Mm-hmm.
But these two, the two I've done, since they're going to be in fog, like it's not that big a deal. So, but I
Yeah.
think once I get closer, then I'll start to fine tune each one.
Mm-hmm.
But it is at least fun to just play with Mixer and just get those two blocked out. They may end up having to change a little bit later once I see the final lighting. But anyway.
Well, like you said, like 2 hours to do the first one and then 20 minutes to do the next one. So if you want to keep running with that, like you've got a really
and
good
to keep the
starting point.
same kind of general vibe and color scheme, I can still use that base mix on lots of other pieces, because there's also like, there's this ridge that's up here as well. And up there, so I'll probably be able to use that for at least those. These are getting a little close, so I'll probably have to be a little bit more. It'll be more time consuming on creating all the masks to have those textures blend together. We'll see.
Cool.
And then
looks good though. I'm liking how your textures look.
So, no, it actually doesn't look bad. For a very rocky. That's weird. Mixer just freaked out again.
Uh-oh.
It's like it doesn't like me going to Maya.
Unreal only.
That's weird.
It does not like you going to Maya.
See, it's doing the same thing it did before.
Yeah, that's really odd. That's really strange. I've never seen that.
Huh. All right.
You can see in the stream we just posted a link to our Eventbrite for our Embergen event tomorrow. So that is at I believe 7:30 p.m. Pacific.
Yeah, that should be cool.
And then a week from Thursday, we'll be chatting with one of our instructors, Dane Smith, who is amazing, and I think was one of the on-set VFX supervisors for Mandalorian. He was dealing with a lot of the LED walls and virtual production there. So we'll be doing another super cool event next Thursday. So this Thursday, meaning tomorrow, and the following Thursday, we'll have some super cool streams. So come and check those out.
Definitely, and they're free for the community,
of course.
So no reason not to, and they'll be recorded. But if you have questions, definitely swing by and watch them live.
For sure. And then next week we'll be here again for Art Jam, but we're planning to change the time.
Yes, be a little bit later. So instead of starting at 2, we're going to start at 4.
Yeah, go 4 to 6. So we're going to trim down the length of the stream just a little bit, but and also move it back a little bit as well. So next week, Art Jam will be from 4 to 6, and it probably will stay that way for a little while. So 4 to 6 Wednesdays, and then I think it's 7:30 for the events on Thursday, tomorrow, and the next week. Oh, Emmanuel's here. Hello, Emmanuel.
We got 1 minute to go. So
we got one. Good to see you.
Hello.
Emmanuel, now we're shortening our stream a little bit, so maybe we'll be able to have you on as a guest at some point.
That would be cool. Making it later in the day.
Just in time. Cool.
All right, so I'm going to just, I guess, figure out what's going on with Mixer. Look at that.
Yeah, that's really odd. I've never seen that happen.
Didn't do anything other than go to Maya and do a render. So I guess something about like launching a render with Redshift causes Redshift to do something to the GPU that Mixer doesn't like. Weird.
Zeno, if you're saying the links aren't working on the YouTube chat, you can always go to any of our socials and you'll be able to find them that way. But good to know that they don't work through the Eventbrite links. Don't work.
Eventbrite links aren't working?
Through the YouTube chat. We'll have to try to see if we can troubleshoot that for you.
Okay. We'll look into that. But yeah, definitely follow us on social and you'll see links for those there as well.
Yeah, if you go to Instagram and you'll see some stories, you can swipe up and RSVP through those. Cool. Well, since you're having trouble, and I think we're both pretty much done, I think we can cut the stream now. We only got 1 minute left, so thank you everybody for joining today and hanging out and watching as we make some stuff. I'm excited to come back next week, and we got some super cool events, so check those out. Follow us, follow, subscribe.
Definitely. Thank you for hanging out with us. So
Absolutely.
it went by really fast today, I feel like.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, same. All right, everybody.
I think
Have a good
I
one.
didn't drink as many drinks so I could make it through.
That's
I could
how. That's
stop like
probably what it
chugging
is.
water through these things.
Yeah.
Anyway,
Everybody, have a good day. Have a good week, and we'll see you next week.
see y'all later.
Bye.
Bye.